So, guys, US has been quiet for quite some time now. US has apologized to the Jewish community. Ye has lost his businesses. He has lost billions of dollars. He's now being sued left, right, and center. He's being treated like an outcast of society. But irrespective of that, the Jewish community is still not satisfied because I believe that they will not stop until Ye is deceased. At this point, it's given the sense that the Jewish community has some kind of cult, you know, qualities to them. Based on a report that I'm seeing here, this is very disheartening. The report says that Australian Jews call for Kanye West to be blocked from entering the country to visit his new wife's family in Melbourne after his disgraceful anti Semitic rants. It says that Australian Jews have called for disgraced rapper Kanye West to be denied a visa over his Melbourne, Australia visit. No, I've seen rabbis that have been disgraced, and I'm not seeing the Jewish community talking about it like how they're talking about Kanye West. I've seen numerous reports of rabbis being involved in human trafficking, and the list goes on. And the Jewish community hasn't been focused on it as how they're being focused on US. Now it says that Dr. Abramovich singled out three statements West made in October and December as evidence that he shouldn't be allowed in Australia. The first was a tweet on October 8 reading, "I am a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3," right? Now, on Jewish people, now everyone has basically declared that that was a typo in his, tweet. Even Candace Owens said that DEFCON means nothing. It's DEFCON, which means the highest level of defense. But they're still using everything that they can in their power to whip this man, publicly disgrace him. What if black people should say, you know what, we want nothing to do with the Jewish community because they were a part of the slave trade and Jews owned slaves in Jamaica? What if people should continuously say that Jews are not a true religion, they're just a cult because they have no love, they have no forgiveness? How would they feel? How would they feel if everyone keeps talking about the rabbis that were caught in a ring and string of crimes? This group of people has no forgiveness and they have no love in their hearts, and I don't think that they are true believers. There are so many people who have incited crime and violence against the black community, and they can go about their business as they like without anyone being a bother to them. Ye West has not made a single comment. As a matter of fact, he apologized for everything he said, and he even explained why he shouldn't have said what he said. Irrespective of that, the Jewish community is still not happy. They're still attacking this man. A couple weeks ago, we learned of Dana White publicly assaulting his wife publicly. Ari Emanuel has refused to comment on the matter, irrespective of the fact that California lawmakers have called on Ari Emanuel to intervene and for UFC to cut ties with Dana White. UFC has failed to cut ties with Dana White as president of their company, and Dana White also said, allegedly based on a report, that UFC needs him more than how he needs UFC. So I believe that there is a war against black people. I believe that this is an out assault against a man because of the color of his skin and because of the power that he holds in Los Angeles, California. I also believe that US money, power, and influence was a big envy to the Jewish community. Let me say some members of the Jewish community, and as such, they want this man to be deleted. While we do not agree with every comment and every remarks that Yewes has made, I believe it is time for the Jewish community to stop the assault and attacks against Yewes. Yewes has been living a private life and he has not been a bother to anyone. Yewes has suffered enough from the businesses that he has lost, from the consistent shame and stain that the Jewish community continues to paint on him. So much so that they have labeled him as anti-Semite last year, anti-Semite of the year. When it comes to Black people, I realize that the fines and the penalties are a lot harsher. Take, for example, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving only shared a link to a movie that he had no part in, a movie that he didn't star in, a movie that he didn't direct, a movie that was not written by him. And Kyrie Irving lost brand deals. He lost his sneakers deal with Nike. Nothing happened to Dana White because of the color of his skin and his connection with the Jewish community, namely Ari Emanuel. As such, these events are given the sense that there is still crime being committed against the Black community. Based on what I'm seeing in this media, what the Jewish community of Australia saying to the Australian government, Yewes should not be given a visa to visit Australia, irrespective of the fact that he's traveling there for what we would call leisure. It's given the sense that the Jewish community is inciting violence against this man. When Yewes spoke about liking Hitler, when Yewes said that the Jewish community should forgive Hitler, they were offended by his comments. But the Jewish community needs to remember that they also had Hitler-like behavior when they enslaved Black people in Jamaica. Black people were whipped, we were treated like animals, and we were given less than favorable conditions to live under. And if you continue this hatred and this protest against Yewes, as a Black Jamaican myself, I will be forced to continue talking about what the Jewish community has done to slaves and Jamaicans in general. The Black community hasn't forget that the Jewish community played a major part in slavery. And at this point, I'm using my channel to speak out against the Jewish community and the violence that they continuously incite against Yewes. Yewes should be allowed to move about freely once he's not being a nuisance or once he's not inciting violence in a group of people or community. The Jewish community needs to understand that they're not perfect. Records have shown where numerous Jewish members have been involved in atrocious crimes far worse than what anything Yewes has said. Still yet, Jewish members are able to move about freely. Before you cast another stone on Yewes, I'm going to ask you guys to think about this carefully, because the next time you do, remember that I'll be using my channel as a place to expose every single Jewish member and all the heinous crimes that they have committed against Black people. Also, most recently, in an interview, the CEO of ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, publicly said that white people are Jewish people enemies. Jonathan Greenblatt was basically inciting violence against white people. When you look at someone as your enemy, you look at that person as someone you cannot get along with, someone who you may war against, someone where there's problems between the two groups. And I've not yet heard the white community to retaliate against Jonathan Greenblatt. The Jewish community needs to give people the same respect that they're asking for. And I'm not going to read anything else further from this article because I guess you can tell from the things that I've been saying, I'm very upset. I'm very angry by the arrogance and the consistent attacks from the Jewish community towards my fellow black brother, Ye West, when there is a stain of history of the Jewish community owning slaves, abusing black people in Jamaica. You are far worse than the man that you keep attacking. You are far worse than the man you keep labeling. You are far worse than the man that you keep calling anti-Semitic. Leave Ye West alone, or else you're gonna have me to deal with by way of my channel. And if my channel gets deleted, you will still have me to deal with through other means. If this continues, I'll make it my personal mission to expose the crimes of the Jewish community.